Hello friends! Welcome to Fact Fusion. We explore the truth about feminism. Recently, an Indian film Animal, made by Bollywood, in which I called it a cancer for society. After watching it, some people asked, what about toxic feminism? I plan to create a detailed feminism video. Do feminist films not negatively impact society? Come, let's learn everything there is to know about feminism and patriarchy in this video. Feminism. What is it? What is the effect of feminism on our society? And how is that causing misery for men? Feminine gender, masculine gender, neutral. In Hindi, it is known as striling and puling. Those words have now been given a new meaning. On social media, you've probably heard individuals claim that some girls, women, or guys are usually like this whenever we discuss issues like feminism, patriarchy, or masculinity. Arguments that women do this and that girls are frequently at fault are frequently made. It appears as though team boys and team girls are at odds with one another. One team consists of all the guys, and the other squad is made up of women. If you consider it, is it not strange? Thus there are always two teams made up of men and women. There is a mother, a daughter, a sister, or a wife in every home. Therefore, how can we make statements like girls are always like this or women are always like this while making such arguments? Still, lumping all the men into one group is nonsensical. If a woman doesn't want to, some guys will nevertheless throw acid at her. Do you want to play on the same team as them? The true divide in this situation is between feminists and patriarchals. What are the meanings of these terms? Let's examine the dictionary now. A patriarchal social structure is one in which men rule over women. Patriarchy is known as Purush Pradhan Samajik Vyavastha in Hindi. Social structure dominated by males, a structure in which men hold all authority. What then is feminism defined as? Does a society embrace feminism, where women hold the majority of the power? No, there is another definition of feminism. The philosophy of feminism holds that men and women should have equal rights in the political, economic, and social spheres. Women ought to have the same chances and rights as males. Therefore, just because the word feminism comes from the word feminine, it doesn't entail that women are given greater authority than males. Matriarchy is another term for that. This is how patriarchy is compared to this. In a patriarchal society, when men are seen as superior to women, women are regarded as superior to men in a matriarchal society. However, feminism implies that there is no distinction made between the sexes. I know what you're thinking. Does this imply that men can be feminists as well? Indeed. Actually, a man who is sensible and rational will be a feminist. Barack Obama, the former US president, once referred to himself as a feminist in an essay. When renowned writer Salman Rushdie was questioned, yes, what else is there to be? Was his response when asked if he was a feminist. You are either a moron or a feminist. There are no other options. Hollywood director Darren Aronofsky said that the question was ridiculous when he was asked the same one. Obviously, he supports feminism. Rahul Bose, an actor from India, responded to this query in a similar way. Of course he is a feminist, he declared. Naturally, a feminist is someone who believes in humanity. Numerous well-known male celebrities identify as feminists in public. Ryan Gosling, Chris Hemsworth, and other Hollywood stars in the Farhan Akhtar and Amir Khan film industry. The topic of equal rights for men and women has been discussed frequently. The question that follows is, are women capable of patriarchy? Yes, without a doubt, is the response to this. The World Before Her was the title of a documentary. I'd like to play you a little excerpt from it. A Durga Vahini camp for women was arranged by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. The teacher was a female. Is it truly necessary for the girls to leave their houses? She asks them. Become a professional. Is it really required? This is not a sensible way of thinking. What makes a woman decide that she should have less rights? However, the reality is that a large number of women in our nation hold these patriarchal beliefs. All of it results from social conditioning. The woman describes how her mother slapped her when she was a child in this video. When she looked in the mirror and saw herself, it was said to her that reading and writing are sufficient skills. She is not in need of a college degree. Globally, there are numerous justifications for these patriarchal viewpoints. As in, this is how we do it, as our culture or religion instructs us. People in society frequently hold strong beliefs about what makes a perfect lady, whereas the spouse is God's physical manifestation. According to Garud Puran, who was cited by ABP News, a good wife is one who obeys her husband's commands. Heaven is a wife's place at her husband's feet. Any woman's happiness is derived from her family's contentment. If a woman does not become a mother, she is incomplete. It's likely that you've heard those close to you say these things frequently. A woman's sacrifices are what define her. When there are 5 individuals and 4 slices of cake remaining, the woman always says she doesn't like cake and begs the others to move on. What else is spoken a lot? A girl will go crazy if she learns too much. Girls shouldn't be seen laughing a lot. A girl ought to be well-mannered and domestic. Such occurrences are rather typical in our culture. The mainstream media also supports these. These so-called perfect daughter-in-law roles in TV shows hosted by Ekta Kapoor shows a persistently backward view on women. Alternatively, see a movie by Sandeep Vanda like Kabir Singh or Animal. These have an impact on our culture since a lot of girls aspire to meet this norm of the ideal woman and begin to accept these ideas. They act in this way in an effort to gain acceptance from their family and society. This behavior is referred to as normative conformity in psychology. This phenomena explains why teens are frequently the victims of peer pressure at school. On a lesser scale, an illustration of this can be that if a joke is being told while you are seated in a group, that joke makes everyone laugh out loud, but that joke doesn't seem amusing to you. The joke isn't supposed to make you laugh. However, you decide to chuckle in order to fit in with that group, in order for you to adhere to the group's standards. Conformity to norms. In order to fit in with society, many women take up these patriarchal ideologies. This explains why there have been a lot of women throughout history who were demonstrating against the equal rights of women. I mentioned in the Napoleon movie that women's rights were also opposed by the left-wing French revolutionaries of that era. Women were not granted rights when the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen was put into effect. Chamet, a politician from the Jacobin movement, claimed that men's natural tasks were farming, hunting, and becoming politicians. However, women have been assigned responsibilities to care for the home and raise children. He referred to the demand by women for their own political rights as shameless. Do they want to be a man? This viewpoint was shared at the time by a lot of women. Even a century later, in 1908, in London, the Women's National Anti-Suffrage League was founded by a woman. Mary was her name, and she requested that people not call her by that, to call her by her husband's name instead. Humphrey Ward was her husband's name. She went by Mrs. Humphrey Ward after that. She was not a woman without literacy. She was a best-selling novelist. In fact, she was well known throughout the world. In Oxford, she had advocated for women's education. However, she was adamantly opposed to granting women the right to vote. She thought that constitutional, judicial, economical, military, and diplomatic issues could only be resolved by men. And then America was about to enact the Equal Rights Amendment 70 years later, in 1972. That is, just 50 years ago, to grant men and women the same rights. However, one woman was against it. The lawyer, Phyllis Schlafly, was American. She inspired additional women to oppose this law through protest. Women like Kalpana Chawla have explored space even in this day and age, when several women have achieved success in a variety of areas. Though some still subscribe to patriarchal ideologies, women are increasingly becoming scientists and mathematicians. Some women claim that feminism is pointless. How can gender equality be achieved? They contend that the anatomy of males and women differs. Males are incapable of bearing offspring. How then are they equal? Believing that women and men are equal is a fallacious claim made by feminists. It is unnecessary to hold such views. That's what I think. Our status is not equal. We won't be equal until males begin getting pregnant. We are not capable of equality. These arguments don't make sense at all. It is true that the anatomy of males and females might vary by 2 to 3 organs. However, the anatomies of males and females share at least 70 to 75 organs. Men and women have the same 2 eyes, 1 nose, and 2 ears. Although their gender is distinct, women do not always come from a different species. They are both members of the Homo sapiens species. Additionally, the English terms similar and equal are employed here. Being equal is not a requirement for obtaining equal rights. Being comparable is sufficient. Diversity is produced by nature, but prejudice is not. It makes distinctions, yet it does not lead to prejudice. Diversity is produced by nature, not by hierarchy or inequity. The diversity that nature provides is turned by civilization into prejudice and unfairness. Women are entitled to maternity leave when they give birth to children. However, women should receive the same pay as men when they work in offices. How could this possibly cause any kind of confusion? Yes, there are differences between men and women. However, a white man and a black man are not exactly the same. There are differences between a man sitting in a wheelchair and a man who can walk on 2 legs. There is a distinction between intelligent and foolish men. But everyone has the same set of rights. It is not said that some types of men shouldn't have equal rights because of these distinctions. Every human being possesses subtle distinctions from other individuals. However, this does not imply that voting rights should be granted to individuals who are ambulatory and not to those who require a wheelchair. Equal rights cannot be denied due to these distinctions. Thus, we return to the starting place. The feminist movement is not about males versus women. Rather, it is about feminists fighting patriarchals. Furthermore, this is a struggle for men's rights as well as equal rights for women. Yes, you read correctly. Men's rights. Patriarchy is the cause of a lot of problems for men. Although it can sound unclear. However, allow me to illustrate with an example. If I were to tell you, friends, that you are unemployed youth, you would probably envision someone who is unemployed. What image sprang to mind? You must have thought of a man without a job. You must have thought of a boy without a job, not a female. This is due to the fact that a female can still be married in our society even if she is unemployed. She could end up a housewife. But it gets really problematic if a boy is unemployed. Men are under far more pressure than women to not be unemployed. According to the patriarchal mindset, males will need to work outside the home, and women will work from home. Additionally, if a woman is employed and making money, the male must make more than she does. What will others say if not? He'll be accused by others of being dependent on his lover. They'll call him out for being a male, for being a man who depends on the money of women, that he ought to feel guilty, teasing him about how his spouse makes more money than he does. Furthermore, as I already mentioned, a lot of women and girls suffer as a result of this patriarchal worldview. They even claim to want a guy who makes more money than they do. If the boy's income is not higher than theirs, they will decline an arranged union, and men's height reflects the same patriarchal worldview. Tall men are attractive to tall ladies. However, tall men also appeal to short women. In the unlikely event that the wife's height surpasses her husband's, the guy will likely face criticism for being smaller than his spouse. They ridicule the pair. They make fun of the man. All due to the same outdated patriarchal mindset. If you're a man, imagine yourself and your partner in your vehicle when a car pulls up and hits you. He comes out of his car and yells at you even though it's his fault. What then would you do in this circumstance? The majority of people will yell at the other person as soon as they step outside of their automobile. However, Gautam Buddha remarked, "I didn't accept the abuses he gave me." Thus, he continued to get abuses. The negativity that someone throws at you won't go away if you choose to ignore it. Only an intelligent individual could find such reasoning logical. What does patriarchal thought say, though? What sort of a man are you if you were insulted in front of your wife and you simply departed after learning about it? It was best if you had shattered his face. What will your wife think of you, you coward? Additionally, society compels the male to confront and battle with the person who is insulting him because of this patriarchal worldview. Will conflict be the solution? Not at all. Assume the second driver is similar to animals ravaging. A wealthy individual who doesn't give a damn about the law, always carrying a baseball bat or a handgun. When that happens, what will you do? You'll turn around and apologize to him even in your rage. Your masculine ego will suffer. You'll still be laughed at by others. As a man who had been assaulted, only to offer an apology. Numerous studies demonstrate that men are more prone than women to get into conflicts. The State of UK Boys Report, which was published in 2022, documented the normalization of violence and the widespread belief that it is a normal aspect of growing up for boys. However, the issue extends beyond the bloodshed, but also of the loneliness of men. I know you're thinking how this might be possible. How do patriarchy and feminism relate to men's loneliness? However, there is a close friendship. Men are not allowed to cry because of the patriarchal mentality. Men who cry are ridiculed by society for being men. Boys don't cry, goes the proverb. Forget about sobbing. Patriarchal attitudes prevent males from expressing any kind of sad feeling. Boys who confide in their male pals about their issues and anxieties are viewed as emotionally fragile. They tell him he's becoming girly in his emotions. What are the ways that men express their friendships in current society? Boys enjoy watching films with their mates who are also men, play a game of cricket or throw a joint party. However, female friendships are closer-knit and more sentimental. Girls converse more candidly with their pals, communicate their issues. However, society will not accept a boy who does this. This is the reason why loneliness in men is treated differently. A boy who experiences depression is compelled to conceal it. Speaking honestly about any form of loss or emotional issue is frowned upon in society. So much emotional castration, friends, that he is deprived of emotional intelligence. And what's the end result of this? The rate of suicide deaths among men is significantly higher than the rate among women, according to data collected globally. The government's NCRB statistics indicates that even in India, men commit suicide at a rate that is 2.5 times higher than that of women. What is the cause of these issues? Thinking and acting patriarchally. That's why it doesn't imply that feminists are against males when they call for the smash of patriarchy. Men and women's lives are being destroyed by the patriarchal mindset. In Indian discourse on feminism, Kamla Pasan's name is frequently used. She discussed how patriarchy dehumanizes males in this Teague's lecture, which she delivered 7 years ago. It is forbidden for you to cry. Your mom passed away. However, boys aren't supposed to cry. Castration on an emotional level. To view this Teague's lecture in its entirety, the link is in the description that follows. To view it, click on it. In addition, similar concerns have been brought up frequently on a global scale. Similar to Cassie J's well-known Teague's talk, which has received over 10 million views. Speaking about men's rights, a feminist, there is no denying that there are many human rights issues that uniquely or disproportionately affect men. Men Without Men was written by Stanford University's Angelica Ferrara. This book shows how the problem of male loneliness is a feminist one. Based on historical evidence, we can regard Raja Ram Mohan Roy as a feminist since he advocated against sati. Additionally, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar encouraged widow remarriage. Our social reformers aim to grant women equal rights, not to discriminate against males. Not to be forgotten when discussing Indian feminists is Savitribai Phule, one of the best feminists in India. In collaboration with her friend Fatima Sheikh, she founded the first girls' school. People used to throw cow poo at her since she had to put up with so much wrath from society. She used to bring an extra sari to school. Was the deity Savitribai Phule anti-male? Obviously not. Actually, she was taught by her husband, Jyotirao Phule. There are three distinct waves of feminism in history. The 1800s and the first decade of the 1900s saw the rise of feminism. Women began to demand political rights during this period. Voting rights. Women were not allowed to vote prior to this. Olympe de Gouges, a political activist, wrote the Declaration of the Rights of Women and of the Female Citizen during the French Revolution. She is regarded as one of the world's pioneering feminists. Around the 1960s, feminism had its second wave. The topic of reducing gender discrimination in their homes was the main emphasis of this. During this period, the well-known feminist Carol Hanisch coined the phrase, "The personal is political." Women were granted a wide range of social and legal privileges. The third wave of feminism followed, beginning in the 1990s. This centered on intersectional feminism's concerns. That is, black and impoverished women should have the same rights as white women. Feminism is not just for upper-class white women. Do you realize, though, what the issue is? When discussing feminism, the lads who project an image of themselves as alpha males on social media will not bring up any of these topics. They will use these movies to mock feminism. These movies are associated with feminism everywhere you look, as if these movies are all that feminism has to offer. Upon creating a video based on the movie Animal, some people questioned why critics consistently criticize movies like Kabir Singh and Animal. Why don't critics critique these movies? However, if you look at the reviews these movies received, you'll see that I mentioned two movie critics in the Animal video, Sucharita Tyagi and Anupama Chopra. I read Anupama Chopra's 4 More Shorts review. For the first 2 seasons of the show, she made this statement: "I never made it past episode 2 of season 1 of 4 More Shots, please." In her assessment posted on her website Film Companion, she claimed that the show only displays a rudimentary version of feminism, that the TV show has terrible writing. Regarding Thank You for Coming, what was Sucharita's opinion? That the most of this movie is not watchable. Thank You for Coming is a movie that is merely disguising itself as a feminist comedy, despite primarily casting a male perspective on how women may or may not spend their lives. Even though the movie poses as a feminist comedy, it is viewed via a masculine lens. For someone who truly comprehends feminism, it is evident that feminism has nothing to do with these movies. While it's true that movie makers are using terms like feminism in an increasing number of their productions, the stories they tell have nothing to do with feminism. It is not a sign of feminism for women to go out and objectify males, smoke, or drink. It's not feminism, this. There are actually plenty of authentic feminist films in Bollywood. The main distinction is that those movies aren't associated with feminism, according to the alpha males on social media. Similar to the movie Pink, this movie is very feminist. It demonstrates unequivocally that drinking does not equal female empowerment. However, the issue is that alcohol consumption negatively impacts a man's liver. However, alcohol consumption turns into a character certification for women. In addition, movies such as The Great Indian Kitchen, English Vinglish, Door, Tumhari Sulu, Queen and Mirch Masala. These folks will never discuss these kinds of movies. And then there are movies such as Thapad. Numerous macho men criticized the movie, claiming that it was unrealistic that the wife would file for divorce after receiving a smack. There's no way this is true, and nobody ought to act in this way. Imagine, though, if the narrative were told in the other order. A wife once smacked her husband in front of everyone at a party. Those who say that it's grounds for divorce are the same ones. That's why the man ought to get a divorce from her. Next, there's the widely shared Neha Tupia meme. When she claimed she had a choice in a Roadies episode, she has the choice, of course. Yes, it is not acceptable for you to hit a girl. The child received criticism for his actions. However, Neha defended the girl's actions in a different episode, claiming that it was her decision. Neha received a lot of criticism and jeers over it. Furthermore, it is evident that her statements were incredibly contradictory. However, what's the deal? The majority of alpha male incels on Instagram exhibit similar hypocrisy. It's likely that you've witnessed numerous guys brag about having girlfriends in Delhi, Mumbai, and Punjab. They then make use of memes such as "men will be men" and "boys will be boys." However, guys will not put up with it if the girl cheats on them. It becomes intolerable for them to handle. It turns into poisonous feminism. Conversely though, boys will be boys. Boys will be boys even when they are in the wrong. Both sides' hypocrisy is evident. Furthermore, both positions are incorrect. But has a feminist ever claimed that Neha Dhupia was correct in what she said? That was not said by anyone. However, feminism is frequently attempted to be compared to that assertion. It has to do with incorrect stuff. In one instance, a girl in Lucknow misbehaved with a boy and continuously beat him. It was discovered that the boy belonged to a poor family and the girl reportedly came from a wealthy one. What transpired was, it is improper to strike someone. But did any feminist offer this girl any support? Nobody did. Still, this is feminism, as is often demonstrated on social media. Why do incels associate these troubling concerns with feminism and never discusses authentic feminism? Their explanation is really straightforward. They oppose granting men and women the same rights. They seek to undermine the feminist movement as a whole and advance the same patriarchal worldview. Lies about feminists detesting all men are propagated by these people. Feminists want women to permanently separate from men. However, we will never talk about the genuine feminism that I addressed in the first part of this video. Friends, I hope this video clarified things for you. The true significance of feminism and the reasons why smash patriarchy is crucial for men and boys. Considering that we envision a society in which men and women enjoy equal freedoms and opportunities. A culture in which men are not forced to repress their feelings. Many thanks for that. You are watching this video on YouTube, but do you know YouTube? If your answer is yes, then sorry, you don't know YouTube. Click on my video that is being shown on the screen at About YouTube.